According to ESPN Sportsbook, the Knicks are the odds-on favorite to win the East, followed by the Pacers, then the Celtics. The Pacers also have the fourth shortest odds to win it all, behind the Thunder, Knicks, and Timberwolves. UD, who's your favorite to come out of the East now?
I'm going to go with the Pacers. And I already know what you're going. You think I'm hating. I could go either way because I've had battles with both of these teams. Looking at this Pacers team, I'll tell you something about this Pacers team, Stephen A. They match up with your Swiss Army knives. They match up with your guys that star in their role. Nembhard, Naismith, Siakam, they match up well with OG. They match up well with Hart. They match up well with Bridges. I came with statistics today. So we got 18 points right here for Siakam. We got 16 points for OG. We got 14 points for Nembhard. We got 15 points for Bridges. We got 14 points for Naismith. We got 12 points for Hart. So all these Swiss Army knives and all these guys that are having these games where we know what Brunson's going to do, but Mikal Bridges is having his moments down the stretch. We talk about Cat having his moments. We talk about all these guys having their moments. Well, they got guys that star in their role and they have their moments as well. So I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers on this because I'm an underdog guy, so I always like to go with the underdog. The underdog role has served me well.
Well, luckily, I don't give a damn about what a Miami Heat has to say about the New York Knicks, okay? I'm not going to get caught up in that, Udonis Haslem. I respect where you're coming from because I respect the Indiana Pacers. And even though it was by and large due to injury, they did beat the New York Knicks in the semifinals last year. We can't ignore that they've got experience at being at the Garden. They won that Game 7 at the Garden last year. Ain't going to be 2 years in a row. Ain't going to be 2 years in a row they taking the New York Knicks out because I think this is a 7-game series. It has a 7-game series written all over it. But we're not going to belabor that because we're not going to discount the Boston Celtics. It ain't over until it's over. They're the champions, and I'm going to respect them. Then I'm going to tell you this. I don't see the New York Knicks, if they were fortunate enough to be in the next round of conference finals against the Indiana Pacers, losing back-to-back playoff series to the Indiana Pacers. That is not something I'm buying into at all. Jalen Brunson is the clutch player of the year. Mikal Bridges, Karl Anthony Towns, OG Anunoby, Josh Hart. Offensively, the New York Knicks are better than they were last year. The grit that they had last year, they didn't have this year, but then suddenly we found it in a few games against the reigning defending NBA champions. I'm looking at it from that standpoint. Mitchell Robinson, let's not ignore the factor that he brings to the table defensively against the Indiana Pacers. So I take all of those things into consideration, and I'm not going to go that far. If I got to pick a favorite in the East at this particular moment in time, the favorite to come out of the Eastern Conference and represent the Eastern Conference in the NBA Finals is going to be the New York Knicks. New York, stand up, baby. This is what we're going to go with right now. There's no reason for me to believe otherwise at this point.
I think I hate both of you. I think he's right. I hate to say it. I'm going to root like hell against the Knicks just to annoy him. And by the way, Steve, do me a favor. Don't say we still respect the Celtics. No, you know you're going to win the game tonight. So don't give me this nonsense. If we're in the conference final, nonsense.
Until it's done. Until it's done.
They're going to win.
Until it's done.
Have the guts.
Listen.
Have guts. Stand, get on a limb.
Excuse me.
Get on a limb.
I've done it for years. And what's happened? I've lost limbs rooting for the New York Knicks.
Yes,
I'm not doing it again.
Okay.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not going to wheel a cart before the horse. I'm going to be patient. But the 6 inches in front of my face, I see it right now. I can see it, orange and blue skies already. I can see orange and blue skies.
Don't do it. Control yourself. Don't do it. Control yourself.
Last year, Steve's correct on 1 point. Last year, Game 7, Pacers won 130-109. I looked it up yesterday. The Knicks were all banged up. Anunoby was hurt. He broke his hand, Brunson, in the middle of the game. The Knicks, no Randall. They had a major amount of injuries, and Indiana rolled. Now, I do think Indiana's excellent at home. I don't know if the Knicks are going to win. I know the Knicks are good on the road, but they're very good at home. Pacers are not afraid of the Knicks, but I have to admit, with Stevie, I don't see Indiana back-to-back years. I would pick, reluctantly, Knicks in 7 in that conference.
I think Halliburton was a little banged up last year in that series against the Knicks too, right?
Celtics, in the Celtics, the next round.
Celtics series, not against the Knicks.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
And by the way, listen,
the Pacers, what are they, like 42-14 since January 1st?
42-16.
42-16.
That's the number 1 seed.
Number 1 seed. That's right. They deserve
I'm happy
all
you knew that stat. I was going to bring that up later.
They deserve all the credit in the world. But, again, they'll be going against the clutch player of the year on his home turf.
I ain't seen nothing like that.
And we know this is going to be, we know it's got 7 games written all over it. And by the way, has anybody seen any individual give it to Derek White
No,
and Drew
I've never
Holiday.
seen
Two
it.
elite
I've never seen
defenders.
it.
Two elite defenders who are reigning champions. Has anybody ever seen somebody give it to them the way Brunson gave it to him? I'm just telling y'all right now, man. I mean, I'm just going to be cool about it. I'm just going to be cool about it. I'm just going to be cool about it. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm going to do. That's all I'm going to tell y'all. Going to tell y'all. That's right. I'm just sitting there. I'm feeling the music right now. I love that music, but I'm going to be cool. I'm going to save it.
Only person comparable with Jimmy Butler.
Who?
Give it to those guys like that. Derek White. Yeah, gave it to those guys like that.
Did Jimmy Butler give it to them like that?
Yeah, he gave it to him like that. He gave it to him like that.
I don't recall it being like that.
But we're not going to take nothing away from what Brunson's doing because he's not Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's 6'8", 215. We're talking about 6'1", 210, not athletic, no wingspan. What he's doing right now is
Football,
all heart.
footwork.
I love it. I love it.
Footwork.
Here's what I want Jimmy Butler to do tonight. Shoot the ball. 9 times in Game 4.
I agree with that. He's got.
And he did nothing in the last 8 minutes of Game 3. He was awful when that game was to be won. Jimmy, all right, it's time. Tonight, 35 shots. Yeah, I don't want to go down with freaking the little, who's the little lefty with the frizzy hair? What's his name?
Pajemski.
I don't want to go down with him. Go down with Jimmy Butler. What are you laughing at?
We're going to get into that later.
The little lefty
He
with the
might be
frizzy hair.
giving heat to another star, and that's Donovan Mitchell. He's a career 24.7 points per game scorer. That's the third most by a player who has never made it to the conference finals, behind only Joel Embiid and Dominique Wilkins. Here's Donovan Mitchell, still inspired post-game.
Y'all gonna write us the off, man. But we'll be back. I mean, let City down, let each other down. We'll be back.
Doug, how much heat does Donovan Mitchell deserve?
I know everybody wants to put the attention on somebody in Cleveland. I watched every basket in that series because, by the way, you don't think I know anything about basketball.
I never said that.
Who played Indiana at plus 396 before the series began?
That would be you.
Right here, baby.
Okay.
Christopher Michael. Yes, sir.
I don't know
With
gambling
Pop-Pop.
terms, Mad Dog. I ain't no gambling
That's a good
terms.
return.
Yeah, I ain't no
You bet
gambling
100,
terms.
you win 396.
Okay, I got it
Add
now.
a few zeros and you get the answer.
Got it.
Anyway, I am not going to go out there and kill Mitchell here. I understand that, missed the 3 free throws yesterday. I understand, he's a volume shooter. I get all that, but he did average 35 points a game in a series. There's nothing he could have done in Game 4. They lost 80-30. They were down 80-38 at the half. Super God couldn't have won Game 4 the way Indiana played. Here's what I'm going to say about and I thought Cleveland was the paper tiger throughout the regular season anyway. I never believed in them. Now, I know it's tricky getting on guys with injuries. I know that because you never know. But hold on now. They're down 1-0 in that series, and Mobley and Hunter don't play in Game 2. They played 36 hours later. Not like they didn't play the whole series. Curry hasn't played in 5 games. He's hurt. These two came back to play Game 3 and Game 4 and Game 5. They lost the first game. Where was it? And they lost that Game 2. It's a terrible loss. They gave 8 straight points. They gave up offensive rebound baskets. If Mobley's in the game, they might win that game. So I'm going to put a little more emphasis on that than killing Mitchell, who tried to keep his team alive. So to me, you guys might go different. I'm not as down on Mitchell as everybody else seems to be.
No, I'm not going to criticize Donovan, but what I will is challenge Donovan. You had an opportunity this year where you had the number 1 seed, you had the coach of the year, you had the defensive player of the year. You were in Utah where you had a number 1 seed, you had the defensive player of the year, you had 6th man of the year in Clarkson. So you've had the pieces. But what I'll say about Donovan is we watched Donovan grow. We watched Donovan take a step back just so Garland can mature, so Mobley can mature. We watched him do all the right things. We watched him play his tail off to put them in a position to win. But when you get to a point where you're such a great player, now you start to get judged by how many rings does he have. Has he led his team to a championship? This is what comes with the territory. And I'll say this to Donovan, to whom much is given, much is required, my brother. So this is just part of your journey. I do think at some point he will get there. But yes, some of this criticism, some of these questions are fair.